appreciate y'all's patience and
Please identify yourself.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm Mike Robb with Westland Resources.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all's courtesy and patience with me in my absence at the last two scheduled meetings. They were just unavoidable events that I couldn't be here, so I appreciate that.
Understand.
The proposal, as far as our basic rates for the year, will remain the same as last year. We haven't changed any of that. All of our basic services that we provide with the cabin and lodging rentals, services in restaurants, catering, all of that will also remain the same. Our marketing and merchandising program, we've relied heavily on our website throughout the past 4 years, and it's done a relatively good job for us. We have done some print ad locally and those types of things, and so we will continue with both of these programs as well. The list of employees and job descriptions is all the same. We employ about 22 to 23 seasonal employees every year. All of our security, safety, and law enforcement regulations and the outline of our safety protocol had been submitted with previous plans as noted in this submittal. None of that has changed. Our conservation fund this past year generated $2,999.50. These funds have been held for projects above and beyond the other projects that we've done that involve conservation and some special projects. I'll go ahead and address the grant that I had applied for and did receive a grant through the Colorado Division of Wildlife Motorboat Access Program, which involves federal funding. I applied for a grant to build new boat docks for the lake, 2 sets at the boat ramp, and then a larger set there at near the store and the main headquarters. The numbers in your main submittal, when we get to the last page that says other grants, I just noticed that this afternoon when I was reading through that, but those numbers are incorrect in the total amount of those grants. And I've got a copy of the grant sheet here. The total grant was $15,532, of which 7,920 will be provided by Westland Resources, and the remaining 7612 will be supported by the Sport Fish Restoration Program, and I have copies of that for you all.
Just one question, Mike,
yes,
relative to the facility itself, the bathhouse. Is there any update on what's going to happen with the bathhouse? Is there a grant being applied for, or are you going to see if the city's going to contribute as well as the Western Resources?
Yeah, it's my understanding in last year's budget, or the 2012 budget for the city, that they had allowed a certain amount of money for construction of the bathhouse, and then we would have to seek grants on top of that. We don't have a final budget, an actual construction budget for the program, other than an estimate of about $120 a square foot for the bathhouse, and I believe it's right at 1,200 square feet.
Are you going to tear down the old bathhouse, or are you going to build or add or another facility or another building?
Well, what I'm looking at is depending on the timing of it, obviously we need to have a bathhouse functional during the summer season. We would probably be looking at constructing the bathhouse in a little different location, just out and in front of the existing bathhouse, closer to the road. And then once it was completed there, then the portion of the other bathhouse would be torn down.
Are you seeking grants for your portion or the Western Resources
Will be,
portion?
yes.
Okay. Go ahead, continue.
Okay.
Yeah, we're finished.
And with regard to the proposal for construction and other things in addition to the Bathhouse project, we had applied for a grant for the fish hatchery last year, which we were unsuccessful. Would ask the city that we go ahead and resubmit that grant again this year. It requires $10,025 from our match funds, which would be $5,000 from Westland and $5,000 from the city. The grant is a total of about a $40,000 grant, which would enable us to make some engineering assessments and have plans drawn up for any renovations that would needed to be done to the fish hatchery. We still have some repairs with regard to the thresholds on the upper level of the lodge building, which is going to amount to about $1,200. Now these are things that were left over from last year's that we didn't get completed, in other words. And a new addition, and this is based on the county's new requirements in their fire restrictions. We have to have spark arresters on all of the chimneys. The spark arresters for the chimneys on the lodge are going to run about $20 a piece, plus about $10 for installation. That comes to about $650. I've also budgeted to install 65 fire pits that are spark arresting fire pits that I have actually designed, and we will, they completely contain the fire, and the only time that a spark gets out of the fire pit is if there's a pop in the fire, and any spark that does come out of there dissipates within 12 inches of the fire pit, so they're not floating up in the air and that kind of thing. They work really well. I've been working on them for about 8 months now, and we've got them finished out, so they'll work really well, and folks can cook on them, use them for the campfire. They have some screen on certain portions of it, so you get the ambiance of the campfire and all that, so they will do a very nice job for us. And that would be $13,948 for a portion of those, which would total the $28,823, which was the balance of what we needed to spend in the first 4 years to satisfy our contract agreement. And then for my lease contribution for this next year would take up the balance of installing the new fire pits of $13,676.35. And in doing so, in front of the cabins, we're going to have to do a little landscaping and fill to assure that people aren't backing into these things and running over them and that sort of thing. We'll have to use some timbers and some fill and that sort of stuff to get that accomplished, and that is about $5,800. So the lease contribution for the next year would be right at $20,000 from Western Resources.
Did you say that you had your fire pits completely all done, Mike? All put in already? Or
No, they're not installed. We've just finished with the design phase of them and making sure they work properly, and we're ready to start building them. And the installation will involve installing them on a 3x3 concrete pad as well. That's the basic plan. Do y'all have any questions?
Mike, just one question relative to season passes.
Yes, sir.
What is the amount of the season pass again, 30?
Season pass, it's not a season pass, it's an annual pass.
Annual
now.
pass, okay.
Annual pass, and that's $30. And it renews from date of purchase. It doesn't go by the calendar year, it's from the date you purchase to the date you purchase, and then it
Okay,
renews.
yes, go ahead.
In connection with the security, safety, and law enforcement provision,